Hi, Joanne. How are you?
Good. How are you
Good,
doing?
good. So, everybody, I am Julie Huck. I am with the Huck team and my new platform called Agent of Change. And I have here with us today a very special guest. Her name is Joanne Curtin from the Curtin Team. And I'm going to let Joanne tell you all about herself because she's not local here in the Cleveland area, but she runs an amazing team down south. So, Joanne, tell me a little bit about yourself and your business.
Okay, well, first I'll start out with a connection. So my brother-in-law is from Cleveland, Ohio,
Oh,
and it is cold there. I have pictures of them on that Cleveland sign or wherever they were, freezing. And I just feel for you guys. And we're actually getting quite a few Ohio relocations this year. Well, we got a lot of them during 2020, but we always welcome, your referrals. So thank you for having me. So a
sure.
little bit of background about our business, Julie, and thanks for having me on. So I'm in Georgia, and we basically are north of the city of Atlanta,
Okay.
and we do the suburbs up here in North Georgia.
Okay.
We've also expanded this year with a number one agent up in the Blue Ridge area, which is very affluent
Okay.
zone for second homes near Atlanta.
Okay.
So we're in Roswell. That's where our office is that I'm in right now. We average the last couple of years, we've averaged about 130 sales a year, transactions a year, 75 million in volume.
Not too
Um, my
shabby. That
husband and
sounds
I,
great.
my husband and I, we work together. I started the team back in 2001 uh, during the first shift, which was, well, you say shifts, when you talk shifts,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, 9/11 to me was a shift. Hello, I got into the business during a shift. So I like to say I've been through three shifts.
Yeah.
Nine
Right.
11 was the first one. The second one was, the recession. And then, of course, we're now in another one that really has just gotten rolling.
Hmm.
But yes, so we've gotten to business in 2001, so 20 years.
Hmm.
I grabbed a really good real estate coach when I got into the business and had some great training initially, and then got my husband into the business with me just after a few short months.
Hmm.
And he just started doing everything, to help me stay in production and work. But then over time, we just keep doing the 80/20. I kept figuring out what, was my 20% I wanted to do, and then kept giving him the 80, and he would
Hmm.
keep
Hmm.
getting the 80, and then he would have to do the 80/20 until we originally, we grew very big before the second shift of the recession. We had pretty much the same amount of team members, if not maybe a few more. And then we imploded that business after, well, we didn't have that many. I take that back. Then the business crumbled down during the recession, and we had to rebuild it again
Hmm.
during the recession. So
Wow.
we, yeah, we've learned so much. But now I am out of production with
Hmm.
this, with coming out of the recession, and then coming in right in July of last year, I pulled out of production, and my director of sales and lead listing agent both take all the production I would be taking.
Wow.
So,
Well, that's
yeah,
pretty incredible. That's pretty incredible to be able to build your business to the point where you can step away from your business and it's still working, it's still going. And I think that's everybody's goal. At least it's definitely our goal. And that's the model that we follow as well. And it's so interesting you bring up the 9/11 shift. I guess
mm-hmm,
we're just going to use the
mm-hmm,
term shift here. But like you said, that was a different time than the 2008
yeah,
uh, what do you recession
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
market explosion 2008, and then now we're in a different time. So can you talk to me, I know this wasn't on the list of questions that I asked you, but can you talk to me about the differences between what you went through in the 9/11 market versus then what you went through in the 2008 market?
yeah, great question. So basically, not the 9/11 market. My husband really didn't have, because I interviewed my husband and my director of sales with questions to get their input. They came
Mhm.
from a different angle with it. And my husband was like, I really don't have any input in the 9/11 timeframe because
Mhm.
I wasn't in it. You
Right.
were. But my big change in that year versus the recession was, well, first off, it was an election year. Let's just call that a shift,
Right.
because I was prospecting every day and people were like, nope, it's an election year. I'm going to
Right.
wait and see what happens. Nobody did anything. And I lost my voice, because I was just on the phone so much. And then 9/11 happened. And I mean, I, I'm embarrassed to say that I was on the phone that week of 9/11. Like, it was paying my bills. How could I not do my job? So it felt really odd. And they turned into care calls. You know, you can't not call people and have that turn into a care call. So anyway, I was still prospecting, but the point of the difference of those two was I came into 9/11 with full gratitude, because I was a teacher. I didn't even talk about that part, but I was a
Mm.
teacher for 5 years. I have a master's in early childhood ed. I had to be in the classroom at 7 a.m. Oh my gosh, my DISC profile is not an SC, and that's what a teacher is.
Right.
I was a DI and I was dying. And so I came into 9/11 thinking, this is a cakewalk. If I just have to be on the phone for 3 hours a day and lose my voice, I'll take it. I don't have to be in the classroom. So I'm coming at it from absolute gratitude and thankfulness. Are
Mhm.
you kidding? You're complaining about this market. People don't want to list their house. I mean, yes, I'm paying for a coach to tell me all these things to say,
Mhm.
but it's better than whatever else I had to deal with. And I'm making money doing it, right? I was
Right.
making $1,200 a month before I made all my payments as a teacher. It was hard.
Right.
So
Right.
I just had such gratitude, and people felt
Mhm.
that. The people, I would call people on the phone and they would say, how's the market? And this is the 9/11. And I would say, it's unbelievable. And they would say, what do you mean unbelievable? And of course, that could be unbelievably good or unbelievably bad. But
Oh, I
they
like that.
still would list with if I would get the listing, I'd say, why did you list with me? And they said, well, you were always saying how great the market was. You're always positive. You always had that positivity. I'm ultra positive, almost to the
Mhm.
point of I have a little bit of a blind spot. Okay.
Sure.
So don't put me in an interview. I want everyone hired. So I was fired from recruiting, by the way. So I was always, positive, and people picked up on that. So when the market's really not good, the positive people win, and you want to get in front of them. That's our gift. That's our God-given gift, is to share positivity. So that's something that relates, that my husband did have some
Mhm.
reflection on for 2008, because we were still sharing messages. I wasn't so positive in 2008. I had had a baby. We had medical problems. We had bills coming in, and we did not have to short sell a little beach condo we bought, but we were close. I mean, it was tight, but we were positive and still sharing, good news or bad news. I didn't care
Yeah.
what it was. We still shared stats. We
Mhm.
had days on market, 38 months supply. You go to a listing and share 38 months supply,
Yeah.
that's not good news.
Well,
But you're doing it as, yeah,
I was gonna
you
say, I mean,
probably,
I remember, and it's like you said, it was hard to stay positive during that time. I mean, going to listing appointments and the people across the table just sobbing when you tell them the truth, and
yeah.
it was that day after day after day, a lot of crying, and
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
it's hard to hold
And
yourself
that,
together during that.
that's right. And my husband never went on listing appointments with me. And he
Mhm.
actually did, because they turned into rental appointments more than not. And
Mm.
we were either going to, they were underwater, and I wasn't going to rent their home. He was. And so I'd take my husband to $100,000 condo because we were going to help them. It was all about helping the client,
Mhm.
not about putting money in our paycheck or in our pocket, because I sell houses, not rent them. But here, we're here to rent your house. So
Yeah.
because we did so many of those, I think pouring into the relationships during that time is what got us back up on top of the wave when it came in, because we had nothing else to do but then to help people rent their houses.
Mhm.
So
I mean,
it
and,
was
and I
really
think
ugly.
that's a really good point that you make, because you do whatever you can do during that market. you just keep doing it, and it's going to look maybe a little bit different than what you're used to doing, but you adapt and adjust, and you didn't stop, right? I mean, you just had to keep going.
Yeah, and we just kept staying visible. We kept sending our newsletters. You know, the new technology is social media, but back then, the new technology of the time was just YouTube and what was it? It was blogging. So we did some active rain. I mean, whatever is that now? But we did some
I remember
active rain.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So we did active rain. We did blogging, YouTube. One of my YouTube town tour videos actually has like 25,000 views on it right now from way back then. But but we just stayed out there. We did some polybutylene pipes. Like, don't worry, if you have poly pipes, here's your solution. Like, we did anything. I did a lot of car blogging because it was quiet in my car, you know.
So I guess let me ask you this question, because you said you were going through some difficult personal times too, and you and your husband are the business. I mean, it's your family business, and you had to rebuild your team during a recession. How did you know what to do? Like, what kinds of things did you do? So you kept your marketing going. You never stopped marketing. Like, what else did you do to just keep yourselves afloat?
Well, number one, I never fired a coach. Okay. Meaning education. So I'm saying coach, but I always had somebody feeding me daily. So I have the notes till this day in my phone from the recession of my coach. I had to video. She was talking and I was recording her with my phone because I couldn't write fast enough. She spat the best scripts ever. And I would write. I couldn't write fast enough. So I got all that on my phone till this day. Beautiful stuff. So I never stopped learning. So for example, with your reach to agents, you've got to do what I did back then, which was Agent Mountain. I went to the beach, I remember one time, and put in my earbuds or my earplugs or headphones, who knows, and listen to Gary Keller talking about Agent Mountain. Remember Agent Mountain? It was agents doing hard stuff. And I was on that at the beach trying to relax. I don't know. I couldn't relax. I had babies. I thought that was relaxing. Maybe it was, but I'm listening to Agent Mountain and learning, okay, during the shift. But then my practical husband would say, of course, we did the obvious. We cut expenses like wildfire. You know, we just didn't do a lot of stuff. And then we did auditing of our business. We had to shave the team down. We had to let people go and get out of the top office and come back to the basement, have somebody walk around our basement door. But one thing we did not, and we also just recently in this recession renegotiated with people on some temporary, you know, like, hey, give us a break for a month or two. You know, we asked for that back in October, November, because it was tough and we wanted some breaks. So we renegotiated some contracts there and also let go of some software that we did not fully utilize to the max. So we audited that. Personal expenses were a given, right? But then we never stopped with marketing. Okay. So it was something we learned from the first recession, put people out. They stopped their marketing. And so Tom remembered back then, we never need to have this terrible situation happen again. I remember bouncing a check. I mean, that's the worst feeling you could ever feel, but that happened in the recession.
Oh yeah.
So, and I was like, I will never feel like this again in my life. Right. Oh my gosh. So we started collecting reserves for the business back in 2000, I think it was 14. And then I think Gary Keller said, ramp it up in 16, the shift is coming. So we ramped it up, but we've been having reserves for years because we didn't want to experience what we had to do when I'm listening to Agent Mountain. So we've got the business reserves so that we never have to go away with marketing. So now we still have marketing and direct mail, and we're not going to give that stuff up. And that's the offense that we're playing that most people can't afford to do right now.
Oh, I love it and that's it. So I recently got into tennis, like when I'm 42 years old, but it's all about playing offense because when you get on defense, you're going to lose. And it's all about the offense and the things that you said about making sure that you don't stop marketing. And then marketing costs money. It costs money if you're have putting out postcards, putting out newsletters. Social media doesn't cost money. I mean, and that's the gift that I think
Yeah.
everyone has today
Mhm.
is
Mhm.
you can market and network the heck out of yourself for free if you really do it the right way. But the second thing you said, and I think it's almost equally, if not more important, is you never stopped growing. You never stopped learning from people who knew more than you,
Mhm.
which is really why I have you here today, because that's the idea. I mean, it's like, how can we learn from people who have been through something that we're either in or about to go through? I guess it just kind of depends on our market. Um, but you haven't, you're constantly feeding your mind with new coaching, new ideas, new trainings from your brokerage. Um, so how does this, like, how are you guys experiencing this current market? What is
Mhm.
that? Because I think there are a lot of, I know here in Ohio, we know the market's shifting. We really feel it because we've been on top of it for the last few years. We've heard Gary Keller saying, be ready, cut costs, cut costs. But what does it look? It's not as like dramatic as 2008. Like we're not feeling that same because there's still a lot of demand. You put a listing up and it's gone like that. So how are you guys feeling the shifting market?
Mhm. So great question. And when I asked my husband, I was like, "Hey, what have we been doing in this shift?" He's like, "Well, it's
Mm,
really just kind of started."
right.
So, I mean, what I'm trying to do is get ahead of it. So, from the examples of last time, like build the bunker, right? Create a moat around your business, and that moat building is trying to protect what you already have. Your amazing staff. I mean, we have 13, half in staff, half as agents. We don't want anyone disrupted in our little ecosystem here.
Mm,
So one thing that we really have made sure to do is to allow the agents. My staff loves that they got an opportunity during our team advance to give one agent a highlight per month for an event. So it's whatever the agent wants to do because everybody wants something. And so then the team and the staff wants to help the agents do their event. But
mhm,
we're all pulled in different directions and we're making graphics on buyer needs and we're doing so much.
mhm,
So the team loves being able to pour into a new buyer seminar. And
mhm.
it's all about that agent coming up this week. One agent's doing art. Let's see, here's our marketing
Mm.
calendar, but art is the magic bullet of decoration.
Ooh,
And wow, how fun is that? And so
so
it's
fun.
what it's whatever might be a client's passion with the agent combined is creating the event. I mean, that's so organic.
I love
Yeah.
that.
So things like that. And then we do it live in Roswell. So my point is we're doing events in the
Yeah.
town. We have parades with kids and we're going to do treat baskets and waters because it's always hot when they're eating candy and it's hot outside. So we are doing other events for teachers. We do teacher
Mhm,
appreciation and
mhm,
some youth day things in our
mhm.
town. But the events were big. And then my transaction manager, her input is that when you're with people, you're not just wanting to sorry, I had to decline a call coming in. So
Mhm.
you're not just talking to your database and your
Mhm.
people, you're talking real estate. Like you can't just ask how your baby's doing.
No.
I mean, of course the care calls are still continuing,
Mhm.
but we're talking real estate pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And you need to push the real estate. Like, are you going to live in your house forever? Do you know how much your house is worth? Like push it,
Mhm.
push the question. And if
Mm.
you're, you know, um, there's so many ways you can
That's
turn
a
that, but
that's a good point because I mean it's a really good point because the thing is we are the experts in our local community. We
Mhm.
know what's happening in all of our neighborhoods in which we serve. And our clients and our sphere and the people that we know are only hearing what they hear on the news. And so it's up to us to educate them. And we're actually dropping the ball on, our duty as realtors, if you want to call it that, by not educating people and constantly having those conversations so they know the truth because it is so hyper local.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, my little mantra is just don't, whatever the news says, do the opposite.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Do the opposite. So definitely, yeah, it's all, care calls, but it does. And you know what? It's so fun. I'm doing something called Behind the Curtain. We talked about this before
I
the
love it.
recording started.
So cool.
And you can follow me on, I don't think you can find it with Behind the Curtain, but if it's
Oh, really?
our YouTube channel, it's Curtin Team.
Okay.
Curtin Team is our YouTube channel,
Mhm.
but Behind the Curtain episodes are all on Curtin Team. And that's spelled
Okay.
CurtinTeam.com. But that's the YouTube channel. And Behind the Curtain, I am literally going to people's homes to highlight how people live well in our Southern community. How fun is that?
So
Everyone
fun.
wants to see other people's homes. They're not open houses. These homes are not even for sale. They're
Oh,
so great, nobody wants to sell them. That's the house you want to go look at.
that's right.
And I've done a wine wall. I've done an amazing pool house.
Mm.
Um, I've done a wine room, a courtyard, a scullery. I didn't even know what a scullery was until I saw her house. So,
What is the
but what I'm saying
scullery?
is, a scullery, it's a second kitchen. It's like a kid's kitchen off
Oh,
your kitchen. So you go into this door and there's a whole nother kitchen in there, but it's like kid friendly and you can grow your herbs in there and the kids could do their little laundry. And
oh,
it's like another kitchen that's not messing
wow.
up your kitchen,
That's
right?
fancy. Fancy.
You're going to have to go see it. I'm not going to tell you the scullery. You got to go look, watch it by
I will.
yourself.
I'm gonna go look at it and then I'm gonna put one on my vision board right now.
Yeah.
So I can keep
So
my kitchen clean.
when I'm in their houses, we're here with a
Cool.
little camera crew, and they feel like they're on the Today Show, and it's literally highlighting their passion project that they've had in their home for a while. And every single time between recordings, they ask about the market. Hey, I've seen your wealth building video. That's so
Mhm.
good that y'all do that, and we need to go out to dinner. We need to talk. It's always goes real estate when you just reach people,
Mhm.
personally. So, but don't let it not go there is what I guess my team would say.
I love
Always
that.
go real estate. Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Well, and I love that. Who did you say contributed that advice? Was that your transaction coordinator?
Yes,
See,
yes,
that's
that would be my.
amazing. Now
Mm-hmm.
that is a real team culture because everybody knows, everybody really understands what we're doing and why we're doing it, and we're all in it together. It's not just I do this, you do that. And I think that shows a real testament to, what you and Tom have built over the years, and the strength of your team. That's amazing.
Thank you.
So, okay, so you went through 2001 and 2008, and very similarly, you never stopped with your marketing. You never stopped growing. Currently, it sounds like you're even amping up your marketing. You're doing some new ideas and some video, which is huge. You're jumping on the bandwagon because you saw even the video you did how many years ago has 25,000 views, and it can still go forevermore, right? So you're
That's
going to,
actually also on the YouTube. That's also on the Curtin Team YouTube
okay,
channel. It's a town tour. Just look down there. There's town tours.
so
It's
smart.
Marietta Town Tour, 25,000. I couldn't believe it. I don't even look at that anymore, but those have lots of bandwidth
And that, I
for
mean, and
marketing.
that is so smart because it's like think outside of the box and do something that you love to do. And put out content that your clients like come from contribution. Contribute
Mm-hmm.
different events that they might be interested or different knowledge or just fun things to look at. So when there are a lot of agents in my market, and I'm sure in your market, who have never experienced anything but a very, very hot, strong seller's market, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So now all of a sudden, I think a lot of people might kind of also be um, maybe in denial that things are changing, that we really do need to hunker down, cut costs, protect our bunker, keep marketing, add to our database, all those things. But what would you say? What is your advice to those folks who've never experienced a shift? Um, and maybe even to those folks, and also if they don't recognize we're in a shift. Like, what advice are you going to tell folks to, agents out there who want to not only survive through the next year or two or whatever, but really thrive and grow their business?
Well, I think the biggest issue that they're having right now is that certainty mode, right? So they don't have certainty, and everyone wants to. There's a little acronym called SCOPE, but it's spelled SCOAP, like soap, but with an S and a C. And the S is for self-esteem. I'm in control. Okay, so I'm in control.
Notes.
Yep, and so I'm in control. That I like to be in control. And then the C is the control, meaning, I need to feel like I have influence in my results. So the C is for control on influencing results. Okay. Now that's a certainty move that people might not necessarily have right now. I don't know if I have control over my results. So the only way to really share certainty with that C of control is to get with somebody who's been down this road before. And that those are people who've experienced shift. So if you can latch on to their mentorship, their leadership, their guidance, be in their wake, you're going to be good. You're going to be good. And you just trust, right? You just trust in that process. The O is the orientation. Like, where am I going? Where am I going? You need to have a vision for your growth. You're going into teaching agents how to get out of this. That's a great path. So everyone has a different lever. Like, where are you going? Are you going door to door to help people? Because that's what my team did yesterday. I think each of them got 9 connections going door to door into a neighborhood, right? And then the A is attachment. A is attachment. And then P is pleasure. So all of these things are, part of feeling good in your role, but that certainty piece is where you really need to have that. You can control everything else except the certainty. So connect with somebody who's been through the shift, and just trust in the process. Like, Tom's got reserves. We know he's got the offensive play right there. We all feel it. We're reminding of it every week. He shares us, hey, marketing team, what have we done to do this, for the agents, the past 90 days. Right. And so it's just that, it's just like a child that feels comforted and, taken care of. You've got that security. So, get in a place where you feel secure, just like you would want your kids in an environment where they feel secure. I mean, that would be the advice I have. And here's a challenge. Find someone who has been through a shift already. In fact, who's been maybe through 2 shifts? That's a challenge. And there's not that many. So that is very likely one of the reasons someone might be watching this that you're going to share, because there's no one in their life that has been through a shift, and they need to feel that security. And once you feel secure, boy, the creativity can go. Now our team can do their art events and not feel guilty that I need to be door knock. I mean, if that's not their lever to door knock, go do your art event with your client and do, something fun. So it gives way for some creativity when you're, I think, working with someone that's been down that road. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's excellent advice. And that goes back to your growth mindset, just always find somebody to be your mentor, to learn from somebody, in your market center, in your brokerage, who will teach you. And, I have to go back to the first thing that you said at the very beginning. You said something that kind of stuck with me about when 2001 hit.
The gratitude and thankfulness.
Well, the gratitude, but then that is really important. Don't get me wrong. I always show gratitude.
Right.
But the fact that you picked up the phone every single day and did not stop, and I think ultimately too, you cannot stop doing your lover. Like you said, you just keep doing it. And one of the things that I always like to tell agents is, and I used to this was my mantra over and over again when I was filling out the the bold forms where you write down how many calls you've made. It was for every effort, there is a reward. For every effort, there is a reward, And I know this as a fact, like when you're doing your videos or when your team is door knocking or they're doing their events, they might not get direct business from that particular thing, but it's like going to come in from other directions, right? And it just comes and it hits you because you're putting it out there. You're putting your energy out there and you're being clear about what it is you're doing, and it's going to come back to you. And it always will. But you can't stop.
Well, and I got a listing one time because I did door knock in the rain, which I highly recommend. One house, I never walked down their long driveway, but they saw me through the window going door to door with my umbrella. I asked them why they gave me their business when I did sell their house. And they said, well, you're never going to believe this, but you were door knocking. And we thought if she can get out there with an umbrella and do this, we want her. I mean, that kind of stuff, people are watching. You never know who's watching you.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
It's karma.
It's so awesome. Joanne, thank you so much for all of your wisdom and advice. And I actually took, a page of notes here myself. So I'm going to learn from the advice that you gave me tremendously. And I just really appreciate you coming. And I cannot wait to jump on YouTube and check out.
I know. And I want your link to your
sure.
to your videos, because I need to be on your platform that you're sending.
So my platform is called Agent of Change. It's reagentofchange.com. And I also just did, for anybody listening, I just did a really awesome, the ultimate open house playbook, because that was always my lever, especially during 2008, 9, 10. And I created a playbook that is really cool and I'm really excited about. And I would love to share that with anybody who wants that. And I'm happy to share it with you too, Joanne. I'll send it your way.
Oh,
but awesome. If anybody wants a copy of that, just message me and I'll be happy to share.
Perfect.
All right.
Wow.
Well, awesome. Have a happy, awesome day. And
thank you.
Hopefully we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate
take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Julie. Bye-bye.